Hey everybody, Gil here. Hey guys, we always start the show off by paying those bills, showing love to those companies who help make this podcast possible. Hey guys, one we haven't done in a little bit that I definitely want to show some love to is our friends over at TruTech Tools. Guys, if you were looking to purchase some new tools going into the summer season, I know the new Testo digital gauges are out. A lot of people are hyped up about. Yellow Jacket has some new products. You can't buy Yellow Jacket on TruTech Tools, but everything else you can find on TruTech Tools. And if you go, when you get to the end and you discount code and you put in Uncensored, you can save 8% on your order. All right. Also, as you buy tools, you accrue points. You can use those points to get discounts and other products as you're going. Nobody has assembled the biggest and best, variety of HVAC tools than TruTech Tools. Mr. Bill Spohn, one of the owners of this, of TruTech Tools, is an amazing guy, very smart man. Great company, great people over there. His son and all of them. So go check out TruTech Tools, www.trutech.tools.com, and do not forget to put in the discount code Uncensored to save 8% on your order. And last but not least, go check out our friends over at Yellow Jacket. Go to your local supply house, check out all the new products they have coming out. One of the favorites is the Yellow Jacket Bullet vacuum pump. I still use that thing today. I love it. All right. So remember, Yellow Jacket, 70 years of expertise built into every tool. On to the show.
I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless the United States, and thank you to all of our global listeners.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go.
If you're trying to take your HVAC game to the next level, then buckle your seatbelt, crank up the volume, and try not to be offended. Because you're listening to the HVAC Uncensored podcast with Gil Cavey and Kelley McKay. Now, here's Gil and Kelley.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. I am your host, Gil Cavey Jr., sitting alongside my buddy, old pal, Mr. Kelley McKay. What is up, my man?
What's going on, brother?
Same old thing, man. I had a new thing I wanted to say real fast. Just as it's, Uncensored Nation, aka Blue Collar Mafia. Like kind of mix them together.
I like it. Yeah. No, not a whole lot's going on, really. We've still had some really mild weather here in Kansas, so we are doing still just like we talked last week a little bit. We're doing some PMs and running some leads, some sales leads. Got a couple on the schedule tomorrow, hoping to close a couple of those. But I looked at the forecast for next week. We're looking at 85 degrees for like 3 days in a row. So that's enough to get somebody to turn that air conditioner on. So I expect us it's go time. I think it's going to be go time next week.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I'm going to look, we've been kind of up and down with the weather. But I think we're supposed to be, upper 70s, 75, 76, 78, like almost 80 next week. So hopefully we can have some of the same happening. We've been pretty steady. We have enough things going on that it's okay. Like we still have a shit ton of installs that have been sold. I do praise the guys that a lot of them are making the most out of some of the calls they're getting and are getting sales and things done. We still have some of the commercial ones that we're doing. So we have work to do. Service has still been that roller coaster because of the weather this time of year. But now we got to catch up on some of these installs. We had that, we've had that big commercial theater job going on, which has been a whole week with a bunch of guys rolled over into this week. So now we probably have 6 or 7 installs in the queue that got to get knocked out. Like ASAP. Also, the stuff that I've been bidding and selling here recently. So it's okay. We're in a good place. It's not a bad place. Things can always be better, but
you're hiring, right?
Yes, definitely hiring. So anybody listening to this, if you're in the Baltimore metro area and you're looking to come work for a good company, make money, have tons of opportunity, work for like an amazing culture, then definitely come private message me and I'll give you the information. And then obviously, Kelley in Kansas, if you're a good tech.
Yeah, if you're a good tech, I'd be interested in having a conversation. We're actually hiring too. We just made a guy an offer today and he accepted. So excited to get him started. I think he's starting next week, and we're going to do training for probably a solid week, just at the office and get him really accustomed to our processes. Because it's just different. I know that what we're doing is different than what other companies are doing. And I think maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think so. I think it's gone are the days that you could just go and just replace a part without looking at the entire thing as a system. I just don't like, you're going to struggle to survive eventually. By just doing the bare minimum to get the system up and running every time, by not looking at the whole system, which we're not going to go into, but you get what I'm saying. I'm saying as a business, like we have to look at the system as a whole. We can't, and we've got to be able to have a process to do that. And I know Gil's going to be learning a new process. Hopefully he'll share some of his insights with me when he gets back from California. Going to see Victor, who was on our show a couple of weeks ago. He's wearing the shirt. So
yeah, Victor sent me the Service Hero sweatshirt as a birthday present. It wasn't really a birthday present. It just showed up at that time. So I'm going to keep saying that.
Right.
But pretty pumped to go see him in California though. That's going to be awesome.
Should be cool. And I'm sure you're going to learn the secret sauce. So I'll be asking about the secret sauce once you're done there. But anyhow, I am going to Oklahoma City with my wife next week. It's a little 5-day excursion, nothing really planned. We'll probably check out the zoo. There's my haircut lady today said that she's been there and there's this really awesome place to eat. So she sent me the link. We're definitely going there. It's like a seafood broil type thing where they throw the stuff out on the table, nice. Crab and potatoes. And that's like, love that shit. So I'm excited about that actually.
Nice. It's good for you to just get away for a little bit before summer, man. Before shit hits the fan, it's nice to just get away and relax for a little bit. Yeah, that's cool.
And that's what we're thinking.
I want to say two things real fast. One about what you were just talking about not being able to just change that part nowadays, business wise. It's because we've evolved. Yeah. As an industry, as business owners, we've evolved to realize that we can do so much more. And by being thorough, that thoroughness brings revenue, brings money by doing the right thing. So, we've just evolved as an industry, as business, and we need to evolve our mindset.
Some of us have.
Well, exactly. Some of us has, and some of us haven't. And the ones who haven't think that everybody who has evolved is some slimy salesman. And not going to get into that because we've talked about it. But open your minds, guys and gals. Really, really open your minds, because you will see the light at some point. I promise you. The sooner the better. So the other thing, real fast, I do want to thank, when you hear this, it's going to be almost a week after, but thank you to everybody who reached out to me to wish me happy birthday. My birthday was yesterday. 38. I'm still far from old. This trade kind of beats you up and spits you out. So it makes you feel older than you are, but I know in the grand scheme of things, I'm still a young man. But thank you to everybody who reached out to me. I really appreciate that. I know it's just a Facebook message or a text and stuff like that, but nowadays, everybody's busy life. To take 2 seconds just to say happy birthday means a lot. So I really, really do appreciate it. Awesome day with the family. At my company, the girls and Ryan and them in the office, if there's some videos going on Facebook, you'll see it, where they put balloons all through my office, over my door, and something so small but goes such a long way. It really, really meant a lot. It means a lot. When I first walked in, she blew a popper. I thought I was going to shit my pants. Scared the living daylights out of me, but it was really good, man. Those little things go a long way. So.
He actually did shit his pants, but we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah. Loose butthole. I definitely had to change my underwear.
No, that's nice. That's something that we all can be better at. I can tell you that. I'm not good at this. And so usually there's somebody in the office that is good at that sort of thing. So I recommend like delegating it to that person.
We have Amanda, and yes. Ryan even said that was on Amanda, that she set all that up, and it really does mean a lot. And it
does.
And I'm not talking bad about any place I've ever been, but I was lucky if my old owner told me happy birthday, did anything. And not that I expected anything or expect a gift or anything, but I mean, all the balloons, you can tell that they went out of their way. They booked a sales call in the morning and even told the customer, like, hey, it's his birthday. Can you make sure you ask him a lot of questions? And the lady kept me there knowing to try to give them time to set everything up. I mean, all the balloons and stuff had to take time. I mean, it was a shitload of balloons. And it was funny. If you see the pictures, it says like, old fuck, worst party ever, stuff like that. But then they bought me lunch. They had cupcakes with candles, something that the intent and the effort they put in, it really, really meant a lot. That's the kind of environment you want to, it's great to be a part of and work in, So yeah, Amanda, if you listen to this, Brian, if you listen to it, I really, really appreciate that. That's something that may seem small, but really means a lot.
Awesome. So what we really want to know is, did you close that bid?
Not yet.
It's still in the works.
Yeah, only because it's like a oil boiler to a gas boiler and all this other stuff. So it's,
gotcha.
Not yet, but I will.
That's right. Attitude is everything.
Yes.
So yeah, I think we talked about that when it comes to like all the skills and the knowledge that we gain. And the bottom line is a sour attitude can ruin all of that. Like, you have to maintain a positive attitude. And the only way to do that, only way that I know how to do it, because man, I honestly, like the last, I would say not yesterday, but the last week leading up to yesterday, I was in one of my downward spirals where I'm not feeling it, and I'm telling the wrong stories in my head. Like it all happens to us. Everybody goes through this. But between talking to my wife and talking to my coach, like I was able to snap out of it. And now I'm, focused on looking at the future again and just focused on the things that I can control. That's the bottom line. So if we always just focus, I know Weldon Long in some of his sales training, he talks about this, like the circle of influence, which was an idea, I believe, made by Stephen Covey, who wrote the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. If you have a circle, a small circle, and then you draw a big circle around that circle. So your circle of influence is in that little circle. Those are all things that you can control. Everything outside of that circle, like the weather, the economy, the customer, your coworkers, like those are all outside of your control. And the whole purpose of the of the training is just to make sure you're focusing on the things you have total control over. And attitude is the number one thing. So,
yeah.
And I've had I admit, man, I've had a shitty attitude the last week. But thankfully, and one thing about me, man, is I talk about it. So, and we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, but it is really important to just talk to somebody about it. So I I talked to Rick, my office manager. I talked to my wife about it. I talked to my coach about it. Like, because sometimes that little insight or whatever they can share will just help me see things in a different perspective, which just snaps me out of it. And then I can get back on a normal life and get back to normal.
And we all need that, Yeah. And the sooner you ask somebody, the sooner you snap out of it. Like if you wouldn't have said anything, that could have got worse and worse and worse. Obviously we've talked about me all before, been there, done that, Yeah. So yeah, you have to say something. And we have another topic that we're going to talk about tonight, but one thing that I want to bring up, a lot of you guys that are technicians out there, if you work for a smaller company, guys, something that you need to realize this time of year is a lot of those small businesses that you're working for have been losing money. They are losing money. And it doesn't mean that they're going out of business or they're bad. It's one of the things that you don't know. Like we always say, you don't know what you don't know. So we're going to tell you. They lose money in these slow times. And that's why the summer is so important, that they have to make all that revenue back to pay for those off seasons. Obviously, you want to try to grow your business depending on where your market, your, lead generation, you can lead conversion, convert those leads. You try to change things as much as possible, your service contracts, to be able to change that, to balance it out. So that ship's not riding those waves. You're not going so deep. But I want you to realize that, because sometimes techs start thinking me, and you're not thinking about the whole company as a whole. You need to be bought into the system that is being sold at your company, the culture as a whole. And if you do what you're supposed to do, then you can help the company, but have the whole thing in mind. Because I talked to some technicians and they're like, oh, well, I'm not getting this, or they're not doing this for me. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Okay. So just don't make yourself look an asshole when you find out and then you feel stupid. Like, cause you finally found out that maybe that owner hasn't taken a paycheck in 6 months. You know what I mean? That he's letting you guys pay your bills and he's not paying his. So just not going to go into detail about that, but I just want you guys to know that I've talked to a couple of guys and they're good people. They just didn't know what they didn't know. And once I educated them on some things, they were just like, damn, man, like that happens. I'm like, yeah, it happens all the time. Like it happens more than you think it does. So, just something to think about. Okay. Hopefully you guys are all working. Everybody's good. But if you are going through that situation, just something to think about. If you're one of those owners, it'll get better. Okay. It will get better. Find out some new systems to be able to put in place to try to make it so you don't have those hits that are as bad.
It definitely does not come without struggle. And there's that old saying that, the level of your success will be in direct proportion to the level of uncertainty that you can handle.
Yeah.
So the more risk you're willing to take, the more uncertainty that you can stomach and like not freak out over, like then, the more likely that you're going to have more success, because a lot of people just can't handle that. That's why, I was reading it was a energy thing for like, kind of like a sales page or, an essay that it was like energy.gov, I believe is where I found it, where they were talking about the importance of maybe adding like energy audits and stuff to your heating and air conditioning company, because after they did this study, they found, it's like 94% or more of HVAC businesses do not make $1 million in revenue. Like 94% of all HVAC businesses are not hitting $1 million in revenue. 20% of all HVAC businesses go out of business every year. 70% of new businesses fail in the first year. And then, and it's because of the seasonality. So that's what they were talking about. It's so seasonal that when you're flush with cash, you wind up spending too much or you make some poor decisions. And then when the work stops, you're like, holy shit, I don't have any money. And so it's just so important to conserve your cash throughout. So let this, hopefully somebody's hearing this at the right time, because we're getting ready to roll into summer right now. Yeah. So don't get stupid with your money just because the money starts piling up in the bank. You want to, of course, treat yourself to something, but don't go do stupid shit with it. I'm telling you, hang on to it, because you don't know what winter will bring. And right now we're in a winter, like economically. Like, it's not just the season, it's like an economic winter, which, and it's going to take a little bit to recover from this. I don't think we've seen the full after effects of a fucking pandemic. We just went through a pandemic. We haven't seen the after effects of this yet.
No, and
it's still rolling out. And
not to get political, we haven't even started feeling the effects of different offices, the change in office. Like, we're not going to feel that, like, for a little bit. Some decisions were made, things were changes. Like, honestly, taxes getting raised. If you're a business, guess what? You need to raise your prices. Okay. So when taxes get raised, we now pay more for the goods that we're buying. We need to pass that on to the customer. Does it suck? Yes. But you have to. If you don't, all of a sudden you're selling things for the same price, but paying more. Now your profit margins go down, and that's a recipe for disaster. So, and like what Kelley was talking before earlier, you either risk it and then you fail and you quit, or you risk it, you fail, you risk it, you fail. Yeah. You keep failing till eventually, guess what? You succeed. That's pretty much how this works. There's no such thing as not failing on the road to succeeding. That's just the way it works. So don't get down. Things are coming, but I do highly advise all of you to go through your prices, see how much you're paying for things now. Something small, like around here, I've been told by several suppliers that we are going to have a PVC shortage. And that sheet metal is going to go up. So we've been trying to do that. We've been going through and changing our prices anyway. We went through and changed the formula on how we figure out system cost, going through everything again before summer, for all the things that we have, all the services we charge for. We're going through and adjusting all the prices.
Yeah. I think we've been paying, we buy 3x8 sheets of metal, and because we got like a cart thing that we built and they just slide in there so we can store it. So 3x8, I think 26 gauge, we've been paying like, 14 to 16 bucks, and that shit's going to go up to like 24, 25 bucks, I believe. It's a huge hike.
Around here, a roofer that I know said that a year ago, a sheet of plywood was like maybe 15 bucks. Now it's $43.
I actually am getting new siding on my house, and I got the bid back in like November. And I called the guy because we did like a home equity loan, and I'm like, I'm ready. I know the price has gone up. He's like, oh yeah, I'm going to have to redo the price. So I'm just waiting on my second estimate. But anyhow, yeah, everything's going up, man.
Yeah. So, you don't feel like, if you raise your prices, you're doing something wrong. You have to. So
customer pays for everything.
Yeah. That's what happens, tax increase, you pay more for stuff. You got to pass that gets passed on to the consumer. So what they paid for a system or a roof or siding, a year, 2 years ago, it's going to be more expensive. And you gotta know why, be able to explain that to the customer and let them know why it costs what it costs now. Be like, ma'am, I'm paying more for this system. All the materials cost more. So I apologize, but if I pay more for it, now I got to pass that cost on to you. So yeah.
So back to coming off of a mild winter. I mean, we had like 2 weeks that it was actually colder than it had been in like 30 years or some shit. And that was great, but it was very short lived. And then it was back to mild weather again. So not a super great winter once again. This is, I don't know how many, I would say, good winters that we've actually had since I've been in business. I know back when I know we've had a couple, but over the last 13 years, not very many. They've been really mild. So now as we get into preventative maintenance season, that's what we wanted to talk about, was you got to make the most of those calls. So I guess we should talk a little bit about, what can we offer, that would be a system enhancement or make the system safer, more reliable, or more efficient.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, you have got to be thorough during that PM. Do not be the person that goes in there, and we'll talk about AC right now because it's going to be AC PMs that we're doing, tune-ups, whatever you call them. It cannot be going there, 30 minutes, 25 minutes, and then you're out. You have created no value at all. Okay. So to me, I'm going to go, well, first, the little things, and this, people are like, oh my God, blah, blah. The phone call, the initial phone call you have with the customer, being polite, how you engage with them. That's your first interaction. It's so, so important to be polite, not over polite, not douchebaggy-ish, but polite enough that oh man, that guy seems like a nice guy or a nice girl. Where you park when you get there. Victor brought up stuff last week. You want to park perpendicular with the front door so they see that logo on your van when you're there. You walk up, you knock on the door, you don't ring the doorbell, you stand back a little bit, give them some distance before you answer the door. You should do this all the time, even more now with COVID.
I'll tell you another tip with that right there is if they have a porch, then if you back down and just step down to where you're actually looking up at them or they're looking down at you, it's so subtle, but it just makes a difference with the customer. Yeah,
psychological. They're looking down, not looking up at you, not too close. And then something as small as when they come in, hey, I'm Gil from Beltway. I'm here to do your AC PM today. Is it okay if I come in? Obviously it should be. They know you're coming, but ask to go in. Yeah, sure. Come on in, Gil. And then when you just get in, talk to them about dumb stuff, just build that relationship with the customer. Weather sure is great today, man. Finally got some nice weather. Yeah, I know. Isn't that great? Talk to the people for a second, and then tell them, ask them, well, last summer, has everything been going okay with the system? Have you had any issues or any recent issues that you've had that have, that I should be looking for? Issues you've had in the past. A lot of times they won't remember, or they might say, oh yeah, we had a company come out and put refrigerant in it last summer, but it worked the rest of the year. Okay, so already there's probably a refrigerant issue. Just ask them questions and then tell them, all right, ma'am, I'm going to go through your whole AC system to make sure that it's safe, efficient, and operates, it's ready for the summer. I'm going to go through everything. Whatever I find, I'm going to make a list of it. Did you want me to go over that with you at the end? Or you want me to just go ahead and take care of it? They're always going to tell you, bring a list to them. Okay. Now, guess what? They expect you to bring a list to them. Don't be a liar. Every customer has a list. Every fucking one of them has a list. You need to do your job and fill that list out. Go downstairs, check the blower motor, make sure it's clean, the filter's clean, the coil's clean. All that stuff is working properly. When you go outside or whatever, take the door off. Take the top off. Disconnect the fan. Don't be that lazy fuck that leaves it hanging over the side with the wires all stretched and shit. Just boop, 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 unplug it, sit on the ground, take the door off, and keep bringing the customer back over. Show them, hey, Mrs. Smith, you mind coming downstairs for a second? Hey, this is the coil. This this isn't crazy dirty, but this should be cleaner than this. Show them visual aids. Okay. Show it to them. You see this drain? I blew this drain out, but have you ever had this backup? You ever had a water issue? Yeah, we did a couple of years ago. We had it was water all over the basement. Okay, well, at the end of this, I'm going to tell you something to take care of that so you don't ever have to have that problem again. Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah, that would be nice. Okay, and then when you go outside, you take the top off. Hey, Mrs. Smith, I'm sorry. I hate to bother you. Do you mind coming outside just for a second? I swear this is going to be the last time. They come outside, take the top off. They're going to see that you did something. You took the top off. We know it's not that much, but they don't know that. Man, you see all these leaves down in here? All right, well, I'm going to get all these out for you. It's getting kind of dirty in there. Show them some of the different things that you're finding. Use those visual aids. You're adding value to what you're doing. Okay. And then when you get done, don't put it all back together. Make your list and you assume the customer is going to do what you're offering. You leave your tool bag out, everything, make up your list, go in and present it to the customer. Hey, ma'am, I found A, B, C, D. To do it is going to be $600 or whatever your options are. Then if they say no, then you say, okay, well, let me go ahead and put everything back together or whatever, because that way, if all your tools are out, all the things are apart and they say, you know what? Yeah, let's go ahead and do all that. All your stuff's out. It's already taken apart. Add the parts or whatever options you gave them, put it together, call it a day. So that's kind of it in a nutshell, but something that seems so simple, that little process right there will go a long way.
One thing that I would add to that is, it truly is like a psychological trigger, but it also is just vitally important to offset whatever the cost is, to invest in that, whatever that thing is that you're trying, that you recommend for them. Whatever that investment is, whether it's a drain line safety switch and drain pan treatment, whether it's a start boost on a new contactor, whether it's, replacing the disconnect, whatever it is, it always helps to put some contrast into it. So what's the component or what's the damage that could be caused without this? If we did not do this upgrade, if we did not replace that contactor with the pitted contacts, what could that cause? Well, that could cause insufficient voltage being fed to the compressor, which could cause the compressor to overheat, which is going to cause permanent damage to that compressor. And that's something you don't want to happen. So if we can say, look, this contactor is what controls the voltage to this compressor. The compressor is the heart of this system. Have you ever had to replace a compressor before? No, I haven't. Well, they can be as much as $2,800 to $3,500 to replace. This contactor, it's just a wear and tear item. Like it actually makes these contacts 1,000 times or more throughout the summer. And, yours is to the point where we need to go ahead and replace it, because I'd rather do this today than have to replace a compressor in the middle of the summer. So now we have some contrast. Whatever I charge for the contactor, it really doesn't matter, because it's not going to be $2,800. I mean, Amen. if I'm doing the contactor for $400, okay, well, that's nothing. That's a drop in the bucket compared to replacing a compressor on top of, whatever, 4 or 5 hours of work. So if I can save that compressor by replacing the contactor and maybe adding a start boost to it as well, then using that contrast, comparing or comparison, it's contrast just means the difference between, your 2 points that you're trying to make or the two different products. So use that. It's extremely powerful.
Yeah. I kept it vague, but that was perfect. Because that's 100% true to do that. And nothing about what we just said is being dishonest. You guys got to get that mental mind fuck out of there, because, you guys think that if you say something, it's high pressure selling tactics. No, it's being thorough and being honest. And that's how you keep customers, believe it or not, because you're being honest. I've said this all the time. You go out there, you go out for a fall PM and a summer PM, you do nothing. Everything looks great. You didn't even really check anything. You're just afraid to tell them what you saw. And guess what? Hey, this is, did you want to renew your service contract? And in their head, they're thinking, they don't ever do shit. So why the fuck am I paying for the service contract?
I'll add something to that too, Gil, is that anytime you do find some little thing, I don't care what it is, because we always do something for free, whether hey, Mrs. Smith, I strapped those wires back. I found that the zip tie had actually broken and the wires were getting close to the fan blade. And boy, that would have been a disaster if that would have got caught in the fan blade. So I actually strapped those back for you and insulated them so you don't have to worry about that. It's a good thing that I was out here. Anytime you can say that, like, it's a good thing that you own a maintenance agreement with us because I found this. Remember last week we talked about how powerful, I think it was last week, because that word, because, the people standing in line, if like I'm standing in line to make copies like everyone else. But if I go to cut in line, if I just say, hey, could I cut in line because I need to make copies, people were 93% or 94% more likely to let people cut in just because they said because. So it's the same way when we're providing this service is, let them know anytime you get a chance to show them how valuable this service contract is, we have to seize that opportunity.
Yeah. Or use the word include it. You start off all the little things that we think are minute, like I tightened all the wires up. I wiped off this, I cleaned this off, all those little things. You mention all of them like it's the most important thing in the world. And you say, and the best part, doesn't cost you a dime. That's all included into your service policy or it's included into your maintenance agreement. Oh, okay, awesome. And we know it might have taken us 15 minutes and be very simple to us because we do it every day. Okay. But to them, we just added value to what we did. So I agree with that 100%. However you say it,
Yeah. Even if it's the middle of summer and it's going to be 2 days before you can get to one of your maintenance agreement customers. Still, when I get there, I'm going to say, boy, Mrs. Jones, I'm glad you own a maintenance agreement because we're booking like 2 weeks in advance right now, but we're getting to all of our maintenance agreement customers first. So I'm glad that you owned it so I could take care of you today. Like just what did I spend there? 20 seconds saying that? And think of how much value that built into that maintenance agreement now. I mean, when it's time to renew, you better bet your fucking ass Mrs. Jones is going to be like, yes, give me the maintenance agreement. I definitely want that. So if you're having problems with renewals, it could be that you're not building the value anytime you get that opportunity. So be sure to do that because it is. Yeah. Yeah.
I hate to say it that way, but it is. Yeah. If they don't renew, you're not creating the value because you did enough to sell it that they thought they needed it. So that means you didn't do enough for them to think they needed to keep it.
Yes. So take advantage, seize the opportunity anytime you get a chance.
Yes. And like me and Kelley just said, when you do that contrast and say all that stuff. And then when you get at the end and, normally most of the time your maintenance, your contract holders get a discount, whether it's 15, 20% off, whatever your company does, you always give them that high number. Hey, ma'am, and all the things that I just went over, it's going to cost you, it's going to be $900 today. Stop. Don't say anything. Just let them think about that. And she's like, whoa, $900. But because you have a maintenance contract with us, it's only going to cost you $645 today. Oh, okay. $645 sounds a lot better than 9 something. Okay. I'm telling you.
Yeah, this one service visit just paid for your entire contract for the year. So I'm so glad that you owned it.
Exactly.
It makes my job easier because I get to show the discount. I don't have to charge you full price.
Yeah, it adds value. And you know what? The best time is, if you do that in a thorough basis, you probably will get to the point where that customer is not going to have a whole bunch of issues because you've served them at the highest level and taken care of everything. But parts will still go bad. But that's being thorough and being honest. That's the way you have to do PMs. And we can talk about service calls at another time. We're going to try to give you guys a little bit shorter one this time to see how you guys do the shorter podcast, see how you guys like it. Let us know. But we hope you guys take this in, everything me and Kelley just said. PMs are very, very important. They're crucial to the growth of a company, to giving guys work during the off time. So please take them seriously. Okay. Please take them seriously and do them the proper way, because they're game changers, and every PM, every call is an opportunity. All right. All right, buddy, let's close this mofo out.
Boop, boop. I'm not sure what that is, but I'll tell that. Okay. Gotcha. So guys, hopefully we still, cram packed this full of value. I know it took us a lot of years to learn these little things about running the service call and to build this value. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you will do exactly what Gil said. Like, it's so crucial to renew those contracts, to take extra special care of those people who own contracts, to build the value in them anytime you get a chance, and to love on those people. Those are your fans. Those are your fans. Those are the people rooting for you. And they're the reason that we can stay employed during the peaks and valleys that can come with this business. So take great care of them, treat them like they're your family, and you'll win. That's the bottom line. You'll win. So love you guys. That's all we got. Go make money.
Yeah, man. Like I said before, Kelley just said it. Guys, be serious about what you do. Okay. Take pride in what you do, and don't let that mental block. Open your mind up, do things the right way, be thorough. You'll start to notice that your average ticket goes up. Your customers are happy. You're making some commissions. It's a win-win for everybody. Okay. Don't have that sales blocker in your head and act like you're doing something wrong, because you're not. I'll just leave it at that. Guys, I'm going to have some posts be coming in the group. Maybe a few things we're going to ask. Me and Kelley have some things coming up that we're going to present to you guys. I won't say too much right now, but we want to try to help some of you guys really up your game to the next level on a personal level, not just a podcast with some more interaction. So we have something that we're going to be offering and talking to you guys about that we will be getting out soon in the group. I also want to thank all of you that we broke the 50K mark in the Facebook group, which is amazing compared to where we were, a year and a half, 2 years ago at 1.5K, and now it's 50 something thousand. It's pretty nuts. So
crazy.
Yep. Thank you guys. We appreciate it. Guys, make sure you're safe out there. Always want you to make it home the same way that you left. We all got somebody to make it home to. So make sure you're being safe out there. Okay. And also, guys, I say it every week. Do the little things to set yourself apart. Do what the next guy or gal is not doing. Okay. That's how you're going to succeed in this trade, in this industry. You're going to thrive and get everything that you want. All right. We love you guys. We appreciate you. Please keep downloading the podcast. No, it's on all the major podcast apps. It's always pinned to the top of the Facebook group. Keep downloading it. Keep leaving reviews. We can't tell you how much we appreciate that. All right. We have some new merch, I think, that I'm going to do where it's going to be the HVAC Uncensored Nation, AKA Blue Collar Mafia. Thank you guys for all your support. We appreciate you. We love you, mofos, and we will talk with you guys next week. All right. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or email us anytime at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Now, get back to work. Shut this down. The views and opinions shared on the HVAC Uncensored podcast may not necessarily be the views and opinions of our sponsors or guests.